We had this stuff called uh, black hembane. It's a weed that grows here in Idaho, and it's a nasty weed. It's got some really kind of pretty looking, almost like snapdragon flowers on it, and I always kind of thought it was kind of a neat looking plant. It's got kind of a yellowish color to it with little purple polka dots in the flower, and I didn't know what it was. Well, the pigs, every time they'd escape and get out, they'd run over and they'd eat that plant. And so I'd pull those out of there and I'd throw it into the pen for them. And then after I made this pen on the skids, I would pull the pen on purpose over to a patch of these flowers. And we're up at the county agent's office and find out this stuff is called black hembane. And it's not only poisonous, but it's got a hallucinogenic to it. So we had a bunch of stone flying pigs. Didn't know it. So then I got to wondering, well, how long is it safe to hold off before we can eat these things? And I never did find a time limit. Said, how long you should wait after they eat those. And so we just wait a little while, a couple of weeks, maybe a little more if we could, and butcher them, and never had any problems with it. But we had up to 9 pigs at one time. And what we would do, the coffee shop at the time in town was open. It was a little restaurant, and they would save us restaurant scraps, table scrapings from stuff people didn't eat, and we would feed the pigs those. And the brewery, there's a brewery in town, makes their own beer, and the way I understand it, what they did is it's all barley, cracked barley. They would run boiling water through a big layer of that barley, and then it would filter on down through, and whatever washed down through the liquid, the water, and whatever barley powder and stuff was left, they would turn that into the beer. Well, it wasn't fermented or nothing. We didn't have drunk pigs or nothing like that. But the washing that barley, I think they did it twice with boiling water, and that took most of the nutrients out of that barley. They didn't grow very fast on it, but they did okay, and it took longer feeding them that, but between that and the restaurant scraps, they did really good. And then the last couple of months beforehand, we would switch over and we'd feed them cracked corn and that kind of stuff and fatten them up, and they were really good eating. We had good tasting pigs. And what we would do, at the most we had was 9, and what we would do is we would price them to our friends just enough money where our pig would be free. The cost of the pig, the cost of all the pigs actually, the cost of the feed, what little feed costs there was, and the cost of our cutting and wrapping would be covered. So we would get free meat. Our friends would get a great deal. It didn't cost them very much either to have done, and it was good meat, and it was kind of fun. And the neighbor kids, we used to raise rabbits, and when they found out that we were eating these rabbits, I never liked doing that anyway. Rabbits are a little too cute. Pigs, cows, and things, that's one thing. But rabbits, it's really hard to go and do them in the pen, and when the neighbor kids found out we were eating these rabbits, they staged a jailbreak. They come over and they sprung them all, and we had rabbits all over the yard everywhere. And actually, I was kind of glad they did that because instead of having to, I'd always shoot them in the pen with a little 22 short. It's just because it's quick and more humane, I figured. But instead of having to do it in the pen where they had no chance at all, I'd get to hunt these rabbits. They were all over the yard. I'd go get the 22 and I'd pop one or two, and then we'd take it in and, butcher it and have it for dinner. And that was way more enjoyable. But we also had ferrets at the time. And them dang kids, they liked them ferrets. And I think they squeezed them a little too hard. Them ferrets were friendly, and we come out there, they were just not not alive no more in them pens. And I think it's them kids that done it. So I ended up being a trapper. I got pure skunk scent, and there was a loose board on the fence where them kids were climbing through. And so I nailed that board shut. Sure enough, that board's loose again a couple days later. So I squirted skunk scent up and down that board, and that kind of ended that. They stayed in their own yard after that. So those 9 pigs, when I built the pig pen for them, there was a small irrigation ditch that ran through the place, and it wasn't very deep, maybe, I don't know, 1.5 feet maybe at most, and 3 feet wide. And so when I built the pen, oh, excuse me, when I built the pen, I put the fence across the ditch, just straddled the ditch, and that way they had water to drink, and I didn't have to haul them water or anything like that. And it worked out really pretty well that the water was running all the time. At least I thought it was. And so one day we came home, and all the pigs were out. And like I say, 9 of them. If you ever tried to herd pigs, it is not easy to do. They are fast, and they don't all stay together. They run every which way, and it's just a almost impossible thing to do. And so what happened, they had turned the water off. And so now that ditch that was all filled with water, that made a great, watering hole for them to drink, now is a tunnel under the fence. And they found it, and they bloop under the fence, and out they went. And so Cindy was standing kind of in the hole there in front of the, where the tunnel was, the ditch there, and I was trying to get 1 or 2 pigs at a time, kind of herd it over there, and then she'd move out of the way, and we'd get them back into the pen, and she'd step back in front of the hole, and I'd go to get 2 more, and by the time I got over there and got them where they're going to be, Cindy'd move out of the way, the ones they're already in come back out. And this kept happening. Sometimes we'd get half of them in, and then they'd all be out again. And I was getting so mad, and Cindy was too. And the neighbor, a guy named Tom Kaufman at the time, Tommy Kaufman, he come over to his fence, and he's leaning on the fence, and he is laughing, and that didn't help. I mean, we're already having a heck of a bad time doing this, and with somebody sitting there laughing at you, it makes it even worse. And I didn't say anything, but I'm thinking to myself, just get the heck out of here, go back in your house. And pretty soon he did, and I thought, well, good, stay in there, and we're throwing rocks at these pigs. I started for the house twice to go get the rifle, and it was Sunday, and Pete wasn't working. I thought, shoot, I can't do that. I have no way to get them butchered or anything. And it was a battle. We were fighting these stupid pigs, and I was hoping that Tommy would just stay in his house. Just leave us alone. Don't be poking fun at us. Well, he comes back out, and this time, he's got a lawn chair and a mixed drink of some sort, whiskey or something. And he sat down, and he's got his drink, and That was so funny. I couldn't be mad at him no more. I wasn't even really mad at him to begin with. I was mad at the pigs, but uh, when I realized that we were his entertainment for the night, that was kind of funny. But we finally, I don't know that we ever would have got them pigs back in there, but what finally ended up happening is we had a burrow at the time. It was a different one than the one, well, the two that we've had. We're down to one burrow, just Mildred now. But Mortimer was his name, and he was a neat burrow. We got him from the BLM. He was a Bureau of Land Management, and he was a wild burrow, and he had a split in his ear that was the base of it. It looked like it probably was a bullet hole at one time, and he had like a hair lip, a big old scar across his lip that, I mean, he'd look at you and it's just funny looking. His lip was all like this. I liked that burrow. He was a funny burrow, and I used to ride him a little bit every now and then, and he was actually not so bad about it. He'd let you do it up to a point, and then he'd buck you off, and there's just really nothing to grab on a burrow. They got those little stubby short manes, and they don't have withers, the shoulder blades they call them. They're round, kind of like a pig, and have mules a lot the same way. But just jumping on him bareback, it was pretty easy for him to buck you off because there's nothing to hold on to. But anyway, he up and died, and we got Mildred beforehand, and those two were buddies, and he up and died, and that's why we ended up with the lumpy burrow, and who is now since died too. So Mildred has survived two boyfriends or husbands or whatever you want to call them, these two male burrows. But anyway, what ended up happening, the reason we got those pigs in there is they all, with me throwing rocks at them and chasing them around with a stick trying to get them back to go into the pen, they all ran underneath Mortimer, and they were hiding underneath his legs, and he didn't much like that, and so he started biting and stomping and kicking on these burrows, and I think they finally figured that it was safer back in the pen, and they all ran back up underneath that hole and back in. And so then I got a chunk of something, some boards or something, and plugged that hole and kept them in there. But it was pretty funny. And poor old Tommy, like I said, I felt kind of bad because I was kind of getting mad at him too, just because of the way things were going and him laughing at us, but it was, looking back on it, it was pretty funny. Skeeters, don't they know that it's December almost? Tomorrow will be December. Anyway, tomorrow is December 1st, and that is the opening day of wolf trapping season in my area. I don't know if I'm going to be ready to go out and chase them just yet or not. I was kind of hoping to, and then Dave Morelli called me here just a little bit ago, and his neighbor actually has a bunch of buffalo, and one of them got hurt somehow, and so they butchered a buffalo today. And sounds like he wants to give me a front quarter of that buffalo tomorrow. So I guess I can hold off setting traps one more day for a, buffalo shoulder. Make a couple of roasts or something out of that. That'll be kind of fun. Well, anyway, I got really nothing for tomorrow, or today, I guess. And see you folks tomorrow. And have a great rest of your day, and I don't know. I'm looking forward to buffalo roast. Maybe I'll smoke it. See ya.